Let me call your attention to that ninth verse of that second chapter of the book of First Corinthians. First Corinthians chapter 2, verse number 9. In the words of Dr. Christopher Wimberly, can I borrow just one verse of the entire pericope that God has given us? 2 Corinthians chapter 2, 1 Corinthians chapter 2, and verse number 9. It says, but as it is written, I have not seen, near ear heard, neither have it entered into the hearts of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. For just a few moments, let's worship by proxy. I want to talk about it happened. It hasn't happened yet. Bishop Holloman, it hasn't happened yet. Just the other day, as my wife and I were discussing the decorations for our home, she said, I want a Christmas tree with lights on it so that we could put bulbs and eventually put gifts under it. I sat there, Brother Anthony, on the couch, and I didn't see it. She said to me, it just hadn't happened yet. Give it some time. We've got to understand that in life, we can't rush things. We've got to just let them happen. Mothers, you know how it is when you are blessed to be impregnated with a child. You know that you have to go through 9 months. Some of them, some days where, you think you can, and some days you just know you can't. But at the end of that 9th month, after your husband is beating the path in the hospital room, God blesses you with a baby child. Some things you just have to wait. You have to wait on. Can I get a witness? You cooks, you know how it is when you put a turkey in the oven and you're ready. You got people coming over for dinner, and you realize that you got to put it in at a certain time, at a certain temperature, and leave it alone. Because you want it to come out, Sister Patina, golden brown, but well, and juicy, and done. It takes some time. I looked at my grandson the other day as he walked into the home for Christmas, not knowing what it was all about, just knowing that he was in the home of his pawpaw. But I remember, Sister Diane, as my daughter gave birth to him, I was in Los Angeles. I rushed back to see him for the very first time. And I held him in my arms when we arrived at their home. And I realized what joy he brought to our family. But it was a few months later, Sister Joyce Fain, that God took him through open heart surgery. And I said to myself the other day when I looked at him, I said, oh God, thank you for time. And thank you for coming through for me. For you didn't have to do it. But I'm glad that he did. There are some things in life that we want for ourselves, but we want this and we want that, but let me stop you right here. It just hadn't happened yet. One writer says, what happened to a dream deferred is dried up like a raisin in the sun. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You just got to wait your turn. I've lived long enough to know and to understand that we are rushing our way through life. We stop. We rush so far in life that we stop. We forget to stop and smell the roses. We fail to stop and understand that in order to make it in life, you've got to walk together. For Amos did say, how can two walk together except they agree? It's got to happen in its own, in a time that God has for it. No man knows the hour nor the day, Brother Herbert, but God is in complete control. Can I get a witness? It was Deacon Walter Speed said to me one afternoon as I was telling him, he said, Reverend, God is in complete control. He said, but not only is he in control on both sides of the river, he's in complete control of transportation. Of how you get where you're trying to go. Thank you. Think Speed, I never will forget that. But there are things in life that we got to understand that just hadn't happened yet. Some of us are still trying to matriculate through school. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being what they call them, when you're a non-seasoned student. That's not. This is a different word for it. I'm trying to can't think of it right now, but non-traditional student. Where you have where your days where you could run around a football field and run down a basketball over, but you're still trying to make it. Yeah, that's right. Can I get a witness? We're non-traditional. Yeah. When I think about how good God has been each one of us, I find myself looking at people as I begin to I like to people watch. Sometimes I see people in a hurry trying to go nowhere fast. Have you ever been driving in your vehicle? When you're driving along and you see that person who's revving up the engine behind you, as soon as they get a moment, they get a chance, they go around you and speed up. You end up looking at the tail of their car. But let me tell you something, when you get to the lights, that same person that was in a hurry to get nowhere is standing looking at you mad at the world. We ought not rush. Listen, let me tell you something. You ought not rush God. We want things to happen, and we want it to happen right now. Some of us are not ready for right now. If the truth be told, some of us aren't ready for what God had. Listen to it. What God has for you is for you, but baby, let me tell you the reason why you hadn't got it, because you're not ready for it. Can I get a witness? I told you I like cake. I like pound cake. Oh my gosh. But it has to go through the heating process. And I can't eat it until the timer goes ding. And I can get it out the oven. But guess what? It has to cool off first. It just hadn't happened yet. When we come to the book of Corinthians, first book of Corinthians, the church of Corinth was a church that had problems, had pressures and struggles. Isn't that how we are today? How many of us have problems? You ain't got to confess. This up to you, between you and God. How many of us have pressures that we're trying to make our ends meet? And let me tell you something about my ends. Listen, I work hard, Brother Smith. I go every day to work, trying to make my ends meet. But let me tell you something, my ends don't even know each other. How many of us struggling? How many of us have struggles? So sometimes we struggle. We struggle with us. I've got 99 problems, but struggling with you ain't one of them. I got my own struggles, and you've got your own struggles too. Nobody in here is living a perfect life. Nobody in this room is living a sinless life. We've all sinned and come short of thine glory. But thanks be unto God, for it is in him that we live, move, and have all of our being. Paul addresses the Corinthian church who has a variety of problems, but he stops and lets them know that he says, I don't come to you with excellently a speech. He says, I come giving it the best that I have. And brother, listen, thank God for each one of you. I believe we've got the best staff of preachers here in the world. And I bless God for each one of you. I don't come with no excellency of speech. I come that God might get the glory. With the testimony that God has been good. And that God is a way maker. And God is true to his word. He said he would. And let me tell you something, you can count on it. You've got to believe in it. I don't mean no harm. A few days ago, our children believed that there was some man coming down the chimney. Gonna drop off gifts. But they believe that. How many of us believe that God will make a way out of no way? How many believe that God can do what nobody else can do? How many of us believe that God can bind up a wounded heart? Oh, come on, don't fool me now. How many of us believe that God is the best thing that ever happened? I don't know about you, but mama may have and papa may have, but God bless the child. That's God. I've got my own relationship with God. I know what God has done. I've seen God work in some of y'all's life. I've seen God move things out of your way. And let me tell you something, if he can do it for you, baby, he can do it for me. He said, I don't do the excellence of your speech. He said, my preaching, my work is not for any popularity. Let me tell you something. If you're trying to do it to become popular, you need to stay home. Because let me say, there's no big U's and little I's in the eyesight. We're all sinners, saved by grace. We're at our best, we're all filthy rags in the eyesight of God. My aim and goal is not to entice you with fine words. I don't have them. Only thing I know is that Christ has been crucified and he's soon to come back again. I know, that's all I'm coming to tell you today is that God is on his way back. And Pleasant Green, if we don't get our act together, we're in trouble. Don't care what Donald Trump does in the White House. We got trouble here in our house. And we've got, listen, and we can't expect nobody to do it outside these walls. We've got to do it together. Let me tell you something, let me drive you parenthetically. I need you. And you need me. I need you to survive. And listen, I told you before, when somebody once told me, my best friend Randy Jenkins told me, he said, Reverend, he said, listen, we all are a piece of puzzle in somebody else's life. You're important. You matter to God. But let me tell you something. You got to do it with the right attitude. You got to do it with the right frame of mind. And you got to do it with the right spirit. Can I get a witness? He said, listen, I don't come to actually speak. Let me say, I come, listen, with all that I have, with all that I give. I don't come to entertain you. I just come to give you what God has for me to share with you. He says simply here, he says, but as it is written, I, not eyes, but I, one eye, have not seen. Your eye, who somebody once said is the windows to the soul. His eyes have not seen. Listen, I've seen some wonderful pictures as I've traveled this country. I've seen some wonderful buildings. I've seen some wonderful cars. I've seen some wonderful things. But I still haven't seen yet what God has in store for me. Can I get a witness? I've seen God work miracles in lives. I've seen God heal the sick. I've seen God bind up broken. I've seen God move in mysterious ways. I've seen God work when there wasn't nobody else around, but I still haven't seen. I still ask Bishop Holloman, I'm looking. Can I tell y'all something? When I first came to Lexington that first time, they were talking about you heading to the bluegrass state. I got on the plane in Cincinnati flying in the bluegrass, and I'm looking for the bluegrass. But guess what? I've been here 25 years, and I still ain't seen no bluegrass yet. Eyes have not seen. You might have brown eyes. You might have blue eyes, but your eyes haven't seen yet. But guess what? You've got to see things first before they happen to you. Because when you see things first, That means you've processed them properly. When you got to see what. Listen, Paul said, "I press toward the mark. I see the mark, but I've got to press my way." How many of y'all are pressing your way today? How many of y'all had some troubles this morning that you said, "I'm gonna press, I'm gonna make it anyhow. I'm pressing my way." He said, "But not only had eyes not heard, seen, but ears haven't heard." I want you to thank God for that part, because some of us are listening to the wrong thing and the wrong people. You've been listening to he that have the ear, let him hear what the Spirit has to say to the church. Listen, quit trying to hear what everybody's going on everywhere else. You better sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine. Can I get a witness? His eyes have not seen, neither have you. Listen, we've heard a lot of stuff lately, but we still ain't heard the goodness of God. We've heard a lot of stuff lately from a lot of people, some good and some bad, but we still haven't heard a servant of. Listen, thou hast been faithful over a few things. Come on, make your rule over many. Eyes have not seen, neither has ear heard, nor has it entered into the heart. Out of the heart flows the issues of life. Let me tell you something, Pleasant Green. I've been around long enough to understand that a person with a broken heart is a person that's in critical condition. Because when your heart is broken, you don't know what you're going to do. You don't know what you're going to say. You don't know how you're going to act. Let me tell you, but the eyes have not seen, neither ear heard, nor has it entered. Let me tell you something right here. I don't know I've kept you too long already, but listen, you ought to be careful what you look at. You need to be careful what you listen to. And you need to be careful what enters into your heart. Can I get a witness? You cannot put premium gas in a car that goes by regular gas. It ain't going to work. You cannot put oil in the gas tank. You can't put water in the gas tank. Neither would have entered into the hearts. And let me tell you something. We're living now in a time, whether you want to believe it or not, we've got wicked-hearted people. From the pulpit to the door. From the ceiling to the floor. We've got wicked people. But let me tell you something. If your heart ain't right, I don't come with no art against anybody. I love each and every one of you, and I'll support you the best I can. Let me tell you, I ain't got nothing against you. Let me tell you something. I'm not here trying to serve you. We got to be here trying to serve God. Neither has entered into the hearts of men. You got to be careful what you watch. You got to be careful what you listen to. And you got to be careful what enters into your heart. Can I get a witness? Has anybody been? Let me tell you something. The other day I was at work and I have a little girl in my school. She's allergic to chocolate. And she got up, she got into somebody else's business and got a piece of chocolate. And that thing became a whole mess because she got something in her that didn't belong to her. Listen, there's some things in life that don't belong to you. You ought to just leave it alone. If it ain't got your name on it, quit trying to do it. But what God has for you, baby, is for you. Neither has it entered into the hearts of men. Neither. It hasn't happened yet. But some glad morning, when this life is over, I'm going to fly away and I'm going to be at rest. It says, neither had entered into the hearts of man the things which God, that's enough right there. Which God, which Jesus, who is the Son of the living God, with God, who is the Holy Ghost, the third person in the Trinity, with God, who walks with me and talks with me and tells me that I am his own, with God. It hasn't entered into my heart. I haven't heard it yet. I haven't even seen it. Let me tell you something. Without my glasses, I can't see you at all. But when I put my glasses on, I got what I need. It says you're gonna quit trying to do things without Jesus if you want to. And you'll be walking in blind like a bat. But let me tell you something, as long as you got Jesus, I've got Jesus, and that's enough. Neither has it entered into the hearts of men. The things which God has prepared. God's got something prepared for you with Freddie J. Moody's name on it. And ain't no devil in hell can take it from me. God's got something with Pleasant Green's name on it. That can't a devil in hell take it from us. We've got Jesus, and that's enough. He said, neither into the hearts of men what God has prepared for them that love him. Good night, or goodbye, 2024. Goodbye, all the troubles we've shared. Goodbye, all the burdens we've had to bear. Goodbye, all the times we didn't know if we were going to make it. But guess what? God is taking us from our ladder, former to our ladder. And it's going to be greater later if you just trust in God. I tell people all the time, so they have to divorce me from negativity. Divorce me from trials and tribulations. But thanks be unto God for them that love him. I love Jesus. Guess what? Because he first loved me. Come on, choir. It hadn't happened yet. But if you wait, it's coming. It's coming our way. It's waiting. Just wait. The writer says, they that wait up on the Lord, he shall renew thy strength. He shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall walk and not faint. Yeah, get weary. Let me tell you, don't get weary in well doing. For in due season you shall reap. If you faint not. Yeah. You ain't seen it yet. You ain't heard it yet. It hadn't entered into your heart yet. That God has prepared for them who love the Lord. Come on, deacons. As we're standing all over the building, if you're here, why don't you come? We're standing. We're standing. Everybody stand. If you can, please, sir, please, ma'am, please stand.